Good evening and welcome to Light Code Portal. My name is Tanya Griffin. I'm the Dean of Education with Light Language University, and I'm here with Anna Noyce, the founder of Light Language University and Circle Insights. Tonight, our topic is we're going to talk about aliens, which is always an exciting topic. But just a little shout out at Light Language University, our mission is to inspire others who are awakening and to aid the imminent growth of conscious awareness of being multidimensional. So, with that being said, Anna, do aliens exist in the third dimension?
Yes, they do. They do, and they're a lot like us. So we're going to go straight into into this. Yes, um, and there are different ways that we have interactions with aliens. So yeah, we do have the physical interactions with aliens. And I have to admit, if you asked me if aliens existed, maybe 15 years ago, I would have laughed in your face and said, no, they don't. Come on. That's and Fred Flintstone with the little green man, hanging out that we all grew up with. But yes, they do actually. And I've had many experiences, um, not so much with the physical ones, but with the energetic ones. And we'll talk a little bit later more about how those experiences go and how we kind of interact. But yes, some people they are here, um, and it's interesting because if you think about us as the whole universe, we're not just we're also from other dimensions and other times, and we're also having experiences in these physical bodies. But we also have DNA that goes back, and some DNA we you can't trace back. All of us have a little bit, and those parts are coming from these other beings that are kind of around us. So yes, we do. They are here.
I've always said myself when people ask me about that, I always said that it would be very um, arrogant of us to think that we were the only ones in the whole universe. But just a follow up question on that. So, this was a question about being in the third dimension. Since we're multidimensional, do aliens exist on other dimensions as well?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And so it's interesting because we talk about the monad too as well. So we can spider web when we look at and the monad is our, what do you call it? It's kind of our soul blueprint. And we have 144 lifetimes that we're participating in, past, present, future. And it's kind of neat because science is really starting to prove that, especially quantum physics, that we're having multi dimensional experiences. I have to go back, and I think I told you this because we're friends and we were talking. A couple of days ago, I was coming back into my body. So I astral projected and I was coming back into my body, and I saw my husband sitting on the chair, which he was next to me. And I'm looking at him, but part of me is going, he's not really there. And I'm like, but I see him. And then all of a sudden, as I really came back in fully, I realized he wasn't there. He had gone up to go do something else. So it's interesting because these multi dimensions kind of overlap each other, and sometimes they can be a little bit confusing as you're coming back in your body. You're kind of groggy and you're seeing things, but we really are moving because dimensions are like stacking dolls, one on top of the other. And this is the way aliens also they're not just participating with us; they have different frequencies and vibrations, so they're interacting with us on these other dimensional planes that we're also participating in, which goes into our light language.
Excellent. All right. My next question, and this is something I can actually attest to. Can you have an alien as a spirit guide?
Yes, yes, you can. And Tanya, tell us about yours.
So, while mine, when I was first learning how to meditate and to speak to my spirit guides, I did have an alien, and it was one of the taller gray aliens that came in to teach me about. Actually, it was about interdimensional travel.
There you go. Beautiful.
A little freaky at first, but you just kind of roll with it.
So let me ask you a question. Were you afraid when you said it was freaky? Were you a little afraid? Because I know some people when they have that encounter, a lot of people are afraid. But were you?
No, I wasn't really afraid. I was startled when I first saw him. And then I just took a deep breath and just kind of just let it happen to see what would happen. And that's what he was showing me about energy and how energy flows and the dimensions and how on other dimensions, you can think about McDonald's and you're at McDonald's. We're here because of our bodies. We're way down. So we think about McDonald's, then we got to go get the keys and go get in the car and drive there. This is a little different.
Absolutely. That's a great example of the multidimensional and how we interact. So that, yes, I love that question.
So, what do aliens look like? Are there different types of aliens?
And I think we had that conversation. We do talk about aliens and spirit rescue. So, what are the different types that we have? We have reptilians, and I think reptilians get a bad rap because, one of my first encounters was a reptilian, because, and I'll tell you, I didn't believe in them, and then all of a sudden I have this experience, and when you have an experience, and you know that you have had that experience, you can't deny that it happened because it really happened. But what's interesting is about the reptilians is everybody says reptilians are all bad. They all hate, you know, living people, and they're here to destroy us and hurt us. And I remember coming out of another dimension in a dream, and there was this reptilian, and he's looking at me with this unconditional love. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Reptilians are these bad beings, and they don't like human beings, and they're trying to hurt us. And my beautiful spirit guides come in and they said, Anna, they said, you know, aliens are like people. They're good people, and they're people who are, they're not so good, and you kind of want to stay away from the not so good, and you kind of want to be with the good, the good ones. So one of the things that we teach and Light Language University again is the tone scale. And we know, and my mother taught me this a long time ago, as a woman we're all taught, and men too, our children, we teach them that if you walk with confidence in a dark space, and if you're afraid, then you're going to attract a predator, or something's going to see you as weak and they're going to come after you. But when you stand in your power and you walk with that, that power, then nothing's going to mess with you because you're not you're not in that space to be messed with. So the same thing works, as you know, because you're one of our spirit rescue people that and teach that, is that we have to learn to go above that space. And if we walk and we're afraid, well, guess what? You're going to attract the lower frequencies. So we've got reptilians. We've got is it Lyran? The Lyran, which are the cat people, and they were the ones that helped us build Egypt, or they came in from Atlantis and then helped build Egypt. And we know that because they brought in the Sphinx, and they also brought in some of the gods that they have in Egypt. And those are actually aliens. We get our cat people, our cats, our house cats, our leopards, our lions. They come from that type of alien. We have the avian, and I might be pronouncing the blue avian. They're the bird people. And in Egypt, you're also seeing this, and you see it in different cultures around the world of beings that have the beaks and the birds. And then we get our birds from that. And then you go on to the dinosaurs from the reptilians. You go into, it's just amazing. We have this footprint around the world that says, yeah, we've been visited and they've left their mark. And these beings, and especially the animals around us, we're starting to kind of make the connection. So I think it's interesting. Anunnaki, Sumerian text, goes back to the history of the Anunnaki. And then we have the Arcturians. A lot of people, there's two types of Arcturians. And I remember I've had some experiences. I was in Brazil and then home in where I am now. And the Arcturians are coming through a portal. And what's interesting about the Arcturians is that there are two types. There are the 4-foot little blue Arcturians, and they're loving and they love people, and they speak English and they're telepathic. And then you have these tall blue ones, and those are the ancient ones. So you've got the hybrids that are the short ones. You've got the blue ancient ones that are these incredible beings, and they don't speak English, and they don't speak a language that we know of the tongue, that we know in the earth plane. They actually imprint It's I call it the atomic language. So water has a certain atomic structure, and they actually imprint that image in your brain. And so you see it, and that's what they're talking about. Or you could say the atomic structure. So they actually talk in this atomic language. They also have a sound that sounds like bowls. The those what is it, crystal bowls? And that's a beautiful. So it's interesting. They've come and they've been here physically, but they've also and left their footprint, but they've also interacted with us, and they're still interacting as spirit guides, or they're coming in and interacting us as angels. A lot of people think they're angels, and it just depends how you interact. So and what you're attracting, which goes with everything that we're participating in this experience.
True. I mean, every culture, every ancient culture in around the world, they have drawings or um, whatever their language is has some kind of alien marks in it. It's very interesting. Um, so, with that being said, because there's so many stories of alien abductions and so forth, that many people are terrified of aliens because of that. Is there a reason to be afraid of aliens? About them coming here to hurt us or to harvest us or so forth?
Yeah, and yes, I think it just depends. There are people with contracts. We know about soul contracts and soul agreements, and some of the experiences that people have been in that lucid kind of dreaming state and have come back and they have marks and they actually have physical things that have happened to them. So you understand that they could be shattered in that experience, of course. And then other people have these, like me, with the small encounters that I've had have always been beautiful, or I'm being taught or something, and the same thing with you. So I think it kind of goes with the soul contract that the person's come down with and has participated in whatever that's happening.
And I always looked at it as a little bit of a different perspective because I'm actually in the medical field. So a lot of the things that happen, I mean, it's one of those things that if you woke up and you're on the surgery table, you would have that same kind of fear and um,
True.
terror experience. And it would be a purely human experience.
Yes, so true.
So, I mean, I looked at it, it could go both ways.
So true. Yeah.
So, do you think aliens actually inhabit Earth and walk among us and interfere with our lives on a daily basis?
I do believe that, yes, they do. I don't believe that it's a major, take over the world like we thought. They've been here for ancient, for eons. And we've gotten so used to being here. Sometimes we don't even know when we're interacting. Do I think they're going to take over the world? I think they could have done that, years ago, but they haven't. They're interacting. It's interesting because some of the places that were lush and beautiful are places that we know that they mine. So you look at Egypt, it used to, at one time, used to be lush and beautiful, and now it's a desert kind of around. You look at, and that they used to mine for gold. You look at something like Mesopotamia, I can't say that word, and that used to be at one time kind of lush. And again, so, and now it seems like they're in Brazil. There's alien activity in Brazil, but we see it everywhere. You see it in Marfa, Texas. Just drive down, if you're in Texas, drive down to Marfa and you see the lights and you actually see them. But do you have to go to Marfa to see the lights? You can stand outside. I had a friend, and you know him, his name's Michael. And he came over one time and he said, I want to show you something. So he took my husband and me outside of the house and he said, watch this. And we started looking at the stars. And all of a sudden we'd see a red light and it would just go straight out or it'd go straight up. And I was like, wow, even in our backyard in the city of Dallas, we can see the lights, you know, kind of. And so why wouldn't we, you know, believe that they exist?
I agree. I'm with you. I've always said that if they wanted to destroy us, they would have already done that.
Hmm.
I personally think that we probably do a better job of destroying ourselves than what they have. Um, is it possible is it possible that somebody could be an alien in a past life?
Yes, yes. And we're going to go a little weird because we know the monad. So I'm going to ask you the question. Is it possible for somebody to be in a past life, present, future? Because we're looking at the anatomy of the soul, which isn't just one piece. We understand now that it splits off into a spider web of 144. So the answer is
Absolutely, because of the past, present, future, and more of that is coming out. I mean, of course, my son and in reference to that myself are Marvel people, and that is something that they're embracing. It's this multiverse,
yes, it's
and
true.
so more and more of that's coming out.
Isn't it interesting that the movies are kind of starting to open the way for the group and collective consciousness to open up and start to see it a little clearer than hide it away? So we are moving through this shift into this new age of opening the space for the encounters like that.
True. So tell me, what do you think about crop circles? Do you think that those are done by aliens, or do you feel like those are? I know that a lot of them, there's been a few that were debunked,
Mhm.
but for the majority of those, they were not able to debunk them.
I'm so glad you said that because yes, there have been some, and I think human beings we're going to try to copy things, but we also know that crop circles are they're teaching their language. They're showing us how to do frequencies, and as you start to understand frequencies and the light language, then you start to interpret that, okay, these are things that can help us heal. These are things that we use in sacred geometry. We actually teach a class in sacred geometry, and a lot of those things that we see in crop circles we use. You can grow, they've actually they figured out in the spirals of those crop circles, if they put a seed, it grows faster because of the energy that's within um, that sacred geometry or that particular however it's put. Crop circles, this is interesting. If you were to take sand, think about basic science, and you put it on a pie plate and you stuck it on top of a speaker and you did a song, it makes sacred geometry on because it vibrates, right? And if you did something like classical music, it would change the vibration and be a different type of sacred geometry. So what's happening is, when Spirit came in and was kind of showing me this, I thought, wow, how, does anybody else know? And I started looking online, and other people were coming, they were starting to see the same thing. So what happens is they send energy waves into the ground, and it does the same thing a pie plate does with the sand on a speaker and creates that, but they're able to control it because of the technology that they have. They control how that circle lays down, whereas we as human beings, we have nothing like that. So the technology that we use is, I think, didn't they use cardboard or something and was smashing it down?
Yes.
It, and they can do it, the aliens who come down, they can do it in a matter of seconds. um, and then I want to go back into some of the aliens that we consider. We just listed a few. I mean, there's a ton of them out there, but also some of it is because we know past, present, and future. So some of it is, and I'm going to get really weird here, is some of it's us coming back to help raise consciousness. It's human beings that have advanced on another plane on the future that are coming back to help us raise consciousness. So it's amazing how this communication's going, and it's right in front of us.
So, do you think it's possible that that you can encounter an alien in a dream or a meditation, or
Absolutely.
even call them up? I know that there's I've seen this man on one of the shows that he fully believes that he can talk to them and cause them to show up on demand.
So yes, yes, absolutely. And I know you just said earlier that you were in meditation and you had your spirit guide come in. So you're actually communicating with another being on a multiverse or another dimension. And when you go into that frequency, you have that communication. Do we all have that? Yes, we do. We all have that. The thing is, we've been taught that as we're growing up, that it's not real. It is, it's make believe. But the truth is, it's really is real and it's really happening. So now, as we start to awaken to that experience, we start to interact with it and start to have those experiences and start to become conscious of that language and communication.
All right, one more question, I do believe. Um, is it true that aliens built the pyramids?
Human beings built the pyramids, but aliens did help and a lot of the influence. So we have, again, we go back to the blue avians and we go back to the, did I say it, Lyrans? With the cats. And we have other, the Anunnaki. You've got so they are influential in helping to download that information. And some of them did walk the earth and come in to help with that. If you look at, it's interesting, if you look at Egyptian history, we really go back, where did the Egyptians actually come from? And a lot of history takes it back into the Atlantean ages and how they, cross. If you go back into the pyramids, I'm going to go back in the pyramids for Mexico. It goes back again to these different places like Lemuria or Atlantis, and where it broke up, and then they started coming into the different spots. So it's interesting. Yes, yes.
All right, I think that is our last question for tonight. Do you want to say anything as a follow up before we leave?
Oh, no, I'm just grateful and thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
We're so grateful we're able to come and join everybody on our Light Code Portal, which we have twice a month. Please check out our webpage, lightlanguageuniversity.com. We do have some workshops coming up in March, Light Language 101 and 102. So just check in and see what we have coming up. Also, we'll, oops, sorry, I accidentally muted. Some additional items to our webpage soon where you'll be able to sign up for medical intuitive or spirit rescue sessions. So please, please go check out our website. Again, thank you. I am Tanya Griffin with Light Language University. Good night.